Boo. I'm back. But it's a few years later than the last time. And as we can see, I've got a little more going on here than what I did before. So it's been a few years. And oh, can't do that. Oh, nope. All right. It's going to be a minute. I'm sure. Okay. Okay, that's good. I like that one better. All right. And I done drank up all my coffee, so I can't exactly do the coffee house thing. Now I will promote this Tony's Coffee House, Bible studies and coffee, good coffee. We've been hanging out together, he and I, in our friendship for the longest time, and all kinds of complications to other people and their BS prevent us from, being who we are sometimes, who we are supposed to be anyway. Tony's Coffee House. Go check him out. He's good people. A lot of good content. And then there's Mr. Climbing, Sim Climbing. This guy is bar none one of the most phenomenal spiritual advisors and go-to kind of fellows for scriptural encouragement that I would ever suggest. Other than that, I'm a like rock and roll kind of guy. I'm into like higher power energies and crystals and stuff like that. But and a lot of stuff I don't usually talk about with most of my people or anybody else. Been doing TikToks a lot lately, and I wanted to take time, come over here, and maybe do a little live stream on the YouTube because it's been a while. So I'm having to use this something they call a StreamYard. Actually, if I actually have anybody come in, yeah, I can. Okay, update. The last video that I did and all that stuff was at a house that was years ago. Since then, uh, moved over to a home on the north end of Flint in Beecher. Wound up losing that home because the taxes didn't get paid on it by the old lady that we were we were paying our rent. And we were probably a good 5 or 6 months into paying the rent until we found out that, they weren't paying on the taxes. So if you're not paying on the taxes, you're not going to have a home. And they're going to foreclose on the home. And whoever the tenants are going to be evicted. Well, they foreclosed on the home in the state because the old lady that I thought I was being a help to by providing a body in the home of her families that have been there forever. She didn't pay on the taxes like she told me that she had. They foreclosed on the house and we got evicted. Push come to shove, it all breaks down to wind up being in a stranger's basement. And the other half, I had already decided, like a good 2, 3 years prior, that we weren't going to be together much longer. I kind of decided that after we had left the old place, the last video that I did. So we wind up in the basement of a stranger's home. I couldn't like depend on, like, I don't know, any of my people, because they have their own things going on, their own lives, their own issues, their own dramas, and all we can do is be an encouragement to each other. We can't exactly, like we used to be able to. And we don't have any youngins that have the same kind of mentality that we did as far as looking after each other in our little communities. It didn't matter whether you were in state, out of state, in town, out of town, local or outside. If you needed the help, we had each other's backs. We had little groups of guys and gals that go and make sure each and every one of us was on point and we was doing okay, and not anymore. So I left the stranger's basement and easily a good $2,000 to $4,000 worth of stuff. She went ahead and filed, and I'm just waiting to hear whether or not the divorce will be finalized before the new year or after. In the process, I moved out to a whole other part of the state. I'm considered and have been considering leaving the state again. But every time I leave the state, it doesn't take more than a few months or maybe at most a year. Circumstances wind up dictating that I wind up back in Plain or surrounding area. And I'm not trying to do that ever no more. When you're from a certain town and you tell yourself, by the time you're ready to graduate, I'm going to get out of this funky little town. I'm going to go enjoy the world and see what's going on out there. And once you do, for some reason, it's like a black hole that sucks you back in, back to where you started out. Aggravating as though it might be, it's done for a reason. Karma has a way of being karma. And the energies that may be, higher power or otherwise, they influence what we do in our lives, like it or not. It's just how the roll. A lot of people use the phrase "set in their way." They have decided that this is how it is. There's no changing their mind. Not with everybody. A lot of folks are a little more open-minded, open-hearted, and willing to listen to your perspective than you think. Let alone not just listen, but hear you and place themselves in your shoes so they can at least attempt to view from your perspective the point you're trying to make, the premise of the word you're speaking, the conveyance of understanding of what you're trying to put across. They will open their eyes, open their ears, let their hearts soften and hear you, not just listen. And those are the folks that, like myself, are cut from that kind of cloth, and we're a little bit different. A lot of folks don't know how to handle us. There'll be times where somebody will be just going off over almost absolutely nothing. And we'll sit back and we're like, okay, get it off your chest. Let it all out. Get it out of the way. I'm right here. Yes, I'm here. Yeah, I heard you. I heard you. Well, you need to beat on my chest for a second here. Man, go ahead, strike. Strike. No, you got my word. I won't strike back. Even if you knock me out, at least wake me up so I can go ahead and we can finish the conversation. Cut from a different cloth. It's not about a different era. It's not about a different generation. It's not about how was I raised up. It's about the lessons that you've learned through the experiences in your life and what you've done with those lessons that you've learned from, and how you share what you've learned with those that are coming behind you and their generations coming up. learning to communicate with other individuals on a basis where you're understood and they're understood. Everyone understands each other and it's easy comprehension. That's something it's not a skill or a talent. It's learned. It's taught. You got to pay attention to be paid attention to. You can't talk to just anybody, just any kind of way. Some folks, you'll start a sentence, get in the middle of a conversation, and you'll say something just a little offbeat to them. And it's the very moment that it's a little offbeat to them, you done been shut down already. They ain't trying to hear a damn another word you have to say. Let alone give you the time and space to go ahead and even look at you, to confirm that you're even there. And those folks are different, come from a different cloth as well. And that's okay. At this point, I'm sure you guys are trying to figure out, okay, he gets soft, he gets loud, he got no volume. I'm on just a phone, digital device. Now, I'll let you know, the King Giovanni part, that's me on TikTok. And I'm going to tell you now, it's been a minute coming. And I'm finally getting the opportunity I'm making to take the time with this opportunity to let y'all know. You motherfuckers. Each and every last one of y'all. Even when I didn't, when I was younger, and I didn't have a place that I had to be, I made friends. And they became family. And I did my best to look out for y'all. If you got yourself in a situation, there's a few times I've talked people out of doing harm to others. There are times where I've cleaned people's homes just because I could, cooked meals for families just because I happened to be there and we all needed to eat. Went out and earned a couple of bucks here and there so I could go bless a family here or there. Not necessarily with food, maybe take them out, go play some games. I've taken families out to shoot pool and go bowling, but that was when I was younger. It's not about my accomplishments or the things that I've done for others, but it is. And what hurts my heart the most is the most recent stuff in the last 10 years. Some of the people that I had the most pride in, I shouldn't have had pride. Pride's not good. But I was proud to have these individuals in my life, simply because I was afforded the opportunity to be a positive influence, a instructional teaching kind of mode. Lead by example. Don't say something, do something. If you say you're going to do a thing, at least make the effort and the attempt to follow through with your own word. At one point, when I was still doing the live streams with Matty Boy, Mr. Rings, we had a little bit of falling out due to environmental influences. I'm going to say it like that, man. A lot of people around us, they caused me to be an angry person. A spiteful even. Getting evicted during a moratorium by a president saying no eviction. You're one of maybe 30 families out of the entire country that they didn't adhere to a presidential demand and final say so. But at some point or another, I've had more than a couple of homes where individuals who needed a place to live and had no one else they could depend on, I opened my door. I signed on. Matter of fact, at one time, I signed on to a house as a favor to a friend and my own mother. Now, mom's passed away now, and that's okay. Rest her soul. I signed on as a favor, put myself in a spot where I could have been in so much debt, and I wound up becoming in so much debt. The house wound up catching fire somehow, and I got blamed for setting fire to the house to the point that the insurance company called me in for fraud. I proved my innocence. And even still, the individuals who I was uh, blessed enough to be a part of signing on as a favor, as family, the individuals who left me hanging with this house that I signed on to as a favor, as family, they all, each and every one of them, except two. No, I apologize. One, this man was finishing up his college degrees. He is now in New York with a decent little family going on, good life. I couldn't be more proud of my carbon copy brother. Even though we had our falling out and he probably thinks I'm the evil. I'm just not the guy he wants to know. That's fine. Many times people have needed. And my heart has been open and strong enough to go ahead and provide. Even when I was unable to, didn't have the finance. I still go to work. Even if it wasn't for a shop or legitimate work, I still brought home some kind of money. Paid the bills, worked together with others to pay the bills. Didn't tax nobody about, hey, if you can't afford it right now, we'll get to it later. If you got it, great. If you don't sweat it. In 2019, when I started doing these videos on the YouTube, that particular home started out as what could have been a possible 3-bedroom. The garage was set up like it should have been set up as an apartment, all unto itself, right off the kitchen. You guys have seen those videos. Took a 2-bedroom, turned it into a 3-bedroom. The living room, dining room, and family room were all in one big ass room. Was working on replacing the windows. The people that I agreed to take care of this house with didn't keep their end of the bargain either, and they were ministers for a church. Can't trust just anybody either. And as much as you can't talk to just anybody, just any kind of way, it doesn't matter what a person says, what their stature of character is within the community. You can't always necessarily trust the trustable people. Or at least we are instructed that they're trustworthy and they will keep their word. It wasn't about that I wasn't paying rent or that we were squatting or anything like that. Yeah, good times. I was trying to catch you on your lives, but you hadn't gone live yet this morning. I had to do some things over the past few months, which entailed me having to do a blockage with one of my closest buddies, my older brother there. I had to block him so that he wouldn't have to deal with, and I wouldn't have to deal with the excess drama that's outside of these videos. We have lives going on that people will never know about, and that's okay. Some things are better left being not knowledge. So at one point, I was kind of whining a little bit, T, but at the same time making a point. We took a 2-bedroom that could have been a 3-bedroom. That the back area was a set up as an apartment type deal, but we took a 2-bedroom, made it a 3-bedroom. As a matter of fact, Mr. Tony here is one of the individuals, and he and I worked together on making the house worthwhile. And I was talking about how we have been there for people over the years, and it seems as though it was almost for naught. However, we have the sense of accomplishment that we did the right thing the way we were raised up and taught to do, showing that kindness, that love, that open heartedness, that putting yourself in the other person's shoes to see from their perspective kind of mentality that we have shared and honed within each other as brothers. Iron sharpens iron, and steel smooths out steel. it's just a sad thing. When we were younger, people were there for us. So we turned around and did the same thing for the younger generation beneath us, and we were there for them. And yet it seems as though we were taken advantage of, taken for granted. However, I view it like this. If it were meant to be that it was for longer than a season, it would have been longer than a season. If it had been meant to be, then it would have been. In the meantime, we've all shared time doing work together, earning a couple of bucks here and there. What we call communing with each other, or what's the other word for it, T? Uh, Not congregating. Um, you know the word I'm looking for too. So at any rate, we hang out. We get to know each other well enough to where it's not just family anymore. We're family. And we are able to get in contact, communicate with each other, and share our gripes, our complaints. Fellowship, yes, 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 yes. So we fellowship together. We learn so much about each other that if somebody else were to come into a situation where we're having what you call inside joke kind of communication, and somebody else decided to put in their 2 cents, I guarantee you at least two or three of us would stop, look at each other, and look at that person like, okay, we're not sure where you came from, but oops, you're bad. And we'll continue on with our conversation. So, having done all this, having had many people through our doors, on the whim and notion that when Christ knocks at the door, open your heart. Okay, when the knock at the door is open, we open the door and we invite him to come in. And yeah, I will. You could. I won't complain. I'm probably gonna be here for a minute, a long minute, because I haven't done the YouTube for quite some time. I like that phrase, quite some time. It's everywhere. I'm actually on here to connect with family and let y'all know updates on me. Um, I have since the beginning, no, the end of last year. Want to say November, December. And I don't even like saying her name anymore. It hurts. What hurts worse is when you find someone that you fall in love with and you put all of your people at bay and off to the side. Give me 1 second. I got company. Yes, come in, sir. Hey, man, I want to apologize for this morning. I didn't even think about it. I'm like, I didn't think to order no food. I was coffee on the brain as soon as you wake up. So, yeah, I'm doing a little YouTube live stream. So I'm good. So what do we got? All right. Yes, sir. Love that stuff. I missed the Italian wedding soup yesterday. Hey, excellent. Yes, sir. Ground gravy would be great. hmm No thank. Yes, thank you. Now, do you guys have chocolate pudding? I'd rather have that instead. Yes. Coffee, please. And you guys don't have root beer. Um,
I saw some down there, little Shasta cans, steak that we got them. Did see something.
if you have, if you happen to have root beer, that'd be good. Me too. That'll work. That'll work. Yeah, T, you can go ahead and share this all you want to. I'm gonna be here for a minute yet. I got a lot to say. I'm catching up on something. It's probably been what 3, 4 years since I've done a YouTube live stream. I'm over on the TikTok these days. No, thank you. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, you stay blessed. I'm gonna stay up here. All right, thank you. So what was that all? I want to go this way. What was all that about, huh? Well, I tell you, Big T, in as much as your body has been acting a fool in the past couple 3 years, then you know it's been that long, and you're still just trying to maintain being active enough to get shit done. I get that. And then the neuropathy and having to be sore for hours at a shot. I feel for you. Always have. And that's why I've been more than happy, even if it feels like sometimes we're price gouging each other or not. Doesn't matter. The work gets done, the effort is made, and things happen, and it's a forward progress in our movements. Um, yeah, I felt for you for the longest time now because it's been a good 10 or 15 years you've been dealing with this crap. But you've got things going on in your life that are worth living for. And it took me a minute to figure this out in just the past couple of years. It turns out I do too. Um, and you know me, I get emotional sometimes, and for no apparent reason, petty enough, I start to dribble up on the eyeballs, stupid stuff like that. And it's like, man, come on, we're grown now, accurate. So, either way, she and I are going through a divorce. I'm sure you're aware of that by now. Hey, yeah, I got coffee coming on the way, so that's positive. And it's not normal for me to be doing this kind of stuff this early either. So, you know, things have changed a little bit since I've been gone. Okay, a lot. I left out in November, December. We wound up being evicted out of that house on the north end out there in Beecher because the old lady didn't pay the taxes. I went to pay on the taxes. They told me I couldn't. I was going to pay the entire thing off, but the land bank wanted it that bad. Wind up in the basement of an absolute stranger. I went ahead and bought a tent that I had been living out of in the backyard while she lived in the house for a good 5 or 6 months. That particular summer, I went over to Leo's and I camped out in his backyard for almost a month and a half. If I had listened to my children and I had not listened to her, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Had I not listened to Paula, I would have continued the medications that they put me on to keep myself alive and not have the blood clots that they removed a few years ago. Now, you know, my mama and your mama had done gone away. And my mama passed away at Christmas Eve. It was either 2020 or 21. I want to say 2020. So that New Year's of 21, you know, I took that fall. And they had me in the hospital. I got hurt. And they fixed me up a little bit, sent me home. Well, I was supposed to be on some medication to take care of making sure that my blood had circulation. Well, she talked me into and out of taking those medications. My kids were not too happy with her, and they're grown out there handling their own like we used to and still do some days. I have to say, damn near more diehard for that matter. Even though we might find that they seem a little confused, disheveled, out of sorts in life to us. As far as they're concerned, they're just trying to get a handle on what's next, like we did. It's the repeat phases, man. Just the repeat phases. The only differences are they have us to use as a sounding board, a sounding wall, and it's up to us to not just be dad or just be mom and be that authoritative, like, look, I told you once, I'll tell you again, but I'm not trying to tell you more than twice. This is how it works. Instead, we have an understanding now from the lives that we've lived and the people that we've been dealt with and been fellowshipped with, learned from their mistakes and their doing rights as we learn from our own. That it's better to have an open mind, an open heart, and open ears, and be non-judgmental of not just our own kids, but those younger individuals coming up in the generations after us. To open our own eyes and view as best we can, try and place ourselves in their shoes, even if we can't fully, at least make the effort to view from their perspective what topic they're dealing with, the subject matter at hand, the circumstances involved in the situation, and be that kind of guiding instrument as God has been for us in our youth, the direction of morals and values and how to, like I was saying earlier, you can't just talk to just anybody, just any kind of way. Some folks just ain't having it, and they will shut you down within moments if you slip up and say whatever you got to say the wrong way in their ear. And these are the folks that are closed-minded, closed-hearted, and they got their eyes shut, and they're not trying to see from your perspective. They got their own, and they're set in their ways, set in their ways, set in their ways. There's not a set in their way kind of thing. Every day is a new day to grow from some kind of new experience, even though you feel maybe that you've experienced this many times before, something called deja vu or repeat effect, wherein we feel as though, hey, I've been here, I've done this before, I should know what's coming next. No. And I'll tell you why. If you feel as though you've experienced that thing before, there's a reason you feel you're going through it again, because you made a change somewhere by your actions in your timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the cherry chip cupcake. This cherry chip cupcake has buttercream frosting made by the young lady who has just walked in and about to walk out. She is one of the nurses at the VA hospital in Saginaw. And get surprised, that's where I'm at. Live streaming on YouTube. And thank you so very much. Cherry chip cake is one of the things I fell in love with when I was a kid, and I got it for my birthday one year, and that's all I've ever wanted every year for my birthday, even though I don't always get it. That or a raspberry pie. And everybody's like, okay, yeah, sure, we got you, man. No. But the cherry chip cake, this young lady come in talking about how they was doing some kind of thing with the nursing staff today, and I was like, did you just say cherry chip cake with buttercream frosting? Uh-huh. I'll be your new best friend. So she decided she had to go out to her vehicle to go get the things that she made, and she brought one in for me. So I'm blessed, and I acknowledge that. When you have a life that seems as though you might as well have been dead a long time ago, it's like that song, Here They Come to Stop the Roost. You hear me, T? They ain't found a way to kill me yet. I'm too stubborn. Even for all the fights we've all been in, us guys. And some of the gals throwing down the way we used to. It's amazing, even to this day, that some of us have made it this far. In some light, it's not necessarily that surprising that a lot of us didn't make it this far. And a little annoying that some of them that hadn't, probably should have. So, going through a divorce as of the end of last year, and it has begun. I'm waiting to hear the information whether or not it's going to be, okay, I got to go this way. There, that's better. Make it proportionate. So, waiting to hear about that. But in the process, I moved out of town. I've gone up north. I'm up in the Crook of the Thumb. I'm up by Mount Pleasant. Found a little spot that I could afford with my little weak ass income. Um, was out here probably 4 or 5 months. And see, you know how heavy of a smoker I actually am. And you seem to be the only person I have in here, so I'm glad you're here. I got somebody I can bounce off. Thank you. um, for as heavy of a smoker as I am, I wound up spending about a week in my room. Dude, I am so happy. I have this huge reclining chair that damn near swallows me. I shared. Cool. I had to figure out what did he share? Okay, as long as it wasn't the clap, we're good. No, at any rate, no, we share good vibes, good times, and good scripture, especially great coffee. That's what we share. I mean, we've been doing promotions for Rifle Coffee. We've done the Patriot Coffee. We've done all kinds of different brands. Um, I think so far one of my favorites is going to be not the Black Death, because the Black Death coffee is just way caffeinated. But me personally, I love it. You know that too. The more caffeinated it is, the more I'm going to have more of it. Oh, wired. No, it's not about the cocaine effect, but it sometimes has that effect. Okay, so moving forward, I digress. Wind up in a stranger's basement. I leave a bunch of stuff behind, including some equipment that was given and borrowed to me. I don't want to say given as in I now own it, but borrowed to me over time because I was being trusted to maintain hanging on to those things that were useful in the forward progress movement of earning a couple of bucks and sustaining a life. Sometimes you need equipment to do what it is you have to do or need to do to maintain being able to eat, clothe yourself, have a home, a roof over your head, or some kind of stability. In order to afford stability, there's no getting around having to work. And I know that my brother can relate when I say there's never been a time that I've ever made the conscious choice that I wanted to have the government, federal, local, state, any of them, any corporations or conglomerates to provide for me the fundage I would need to live or maintain a life. Never once had that ever crossed our minds. We were always and always will be, and probably have been this whole time, earn your way. That sense of accomplishment is what makes it all worthwhile. That's what gives us not necessarily a sense of pride, but a sense of a goal achieved, achievement unlocked. So you can go to the next level. You've learned what you had to learn, take that lesson, modify, improve on it, make it something more than what it was, take that out there, put that to use. And in the process, you can educate others by action, leading by example. They see and they have hands-on experience working alongside you to learn the lessons they need to learn to level up themselves. Left a bunch of stuff behind, close to 2 or 3 grand worth of stuff. I'm not that upset about it, but I am upset about it because of that equipment I was just talking about that was borrowed to me and I was responsible for. I had to leave it behind in order to not just make the point that I was absolutely serious. The woman was not doing any good for myself nor herself. I spent almost 4 years putting myself out, putting friends and family at bay for the sake of my wife and making sure she needed whatever she needed was handled. What a good man ought to do. is maintain being able to provide stability for his family. And over the years, I haven't been able to do that because there have been a lot of outside influences and forces that deterred that. And that's okay. Lessons learned. People have gone through what they've gone through. Karma does what karma does. And I love me some karma. That bad little bitch, I'll tell you what. Personal investment in your positive karma will protect you and surround you with an outside push force. What do we used to call that? A hedge of protection with outward spikes poisoned at the tips. Isn't that right? I think I remember that prayer over on Root Street. Not too many of us would, but I remember a lot more than people think I do. My mind, I don't know how I've been blessed for it, but I have a lot of good memories and a lot of solid memories about a lot of solid experiences, be they good, bad, or ugly. I remember shit. Oh, she is sexy as all get out, man. AF. Sexy AF. Okay, so getting back to the update thing. I done left the. Oh, okay. Jess is in here. I didn't know that I had another person. Either way, either way. Um, while I am out of the loop, do me a favor, roll one up. Okay, greetings and salutations. Good morning, Miss Palmer. I'm glad to have you here. Um, if you got one, roll one up and smoke one for me. I'd really appreciate that. Because at this point in time where I'm at in the situation and circumstances I'm under, I don't exactly have access to my medications that we prefer. However, they got me on other medications. Oh, you're going to love this part, T. You're going to love this part. So I left Flint. I've gone up north. I'm going through the divorce. Yes, yes. A small tree is fine, but if you want to go ahead and grab a Brussels sprout, I won't complain. Break it down, baby. Break it down. Went up north, found myself a little spot, and don't be mad at me. I didn't do it on purpose. Nice change of pace, huh? Usually I do. Usually I do stuff on purpose to myself because I get mad at myself and I don't feel I'm worth anything or any good to anybody. And we've all been in that spot in some way or another. So about 2 weeks ago, it had been like a month and a half running, and I had moments where my body would seize up from head to toe. And that reclining chair I was talking about a little while ago is big enough to swallow me. Oh, so comfy, like laying on clouds. Like that waterbed you might have had that one time. Laying on a cloud, but you was laying on a current. You know what I mean? So sitting in this chair, my body seized up and the little toes went down, the big toe went up, and it stayed that way a good, a solid 4 to 6 minutes, maybe 7. And I had to breathe through that in a bad way. About 2.5, maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't exactly recall what came over me or exactly, but I know that my roommates heard what they heard and were behooved and scared enough to yell through my bedroom door, "Hey, do we need to call an ambulance for you?" And then within seconds telling me, "Forget about it. The ambulance is on the way." I got blessed again, even if I didn't deserve it. I got blessed again. Yes. Okay. So the ambulance came, and from what I remember, which ain't much. They informed me that I was in the middle of a heart attack. So they gave me some medications. Once I got into their vehicle, if they got my breathing calmed down enough to provide me some kind of slow it down stuff, I signed the paperwork on the way to the hospital for them to do whatever surgeries they needed to do. In as much as the last time after mom passed and I took that fall on the ice that New Year's, and they went and took blood clots out of the one leg with the precursor that, look, if we do this, we're going to have two choices. We can try to save your leg, but no guarantees, or we can go ahead and just straight take your leg and figure out how to get you familiar with the idea of a prosthetic later down the road. Prosthetic fake leg. No, you go ahead and you try to save the leg. So they did. I come home from that surgery, instead of being on the bed rest and being looked after for the next 2 or 3 months like it was supposed to have been, I was greeted with obstacle courses and being told, hey, quit being a bitch about things and quit being a pussy about things. You're better than that. I know you're stronger than that. You are a stubborn man and you don't let anything get in your way. So that kind of encouragement, that kind of hype helped to deter me from listening to the advice of my children, who told me, you listen to your doctors. They're there for a reason. They're meant to do you well and help you heal and get better so you don't have to go back into where you just came from. Instead, I listened to the other half, who suggested that I was stronger than that. I didn't need the medications, and I knew how to make my mind, make my body do what it's supposed to do. Yeah, I'm stubborn, sure. That was the only thing I caught. I'm stubborn. Ain't nothing going to keep me down, keep me back. And it didn't. However, it did me more harm than good. 2 weeks ago, I went on the ambulance in the middle of a heart attack. They calmed me down. They put me immediately, within 3 hours or less, into surgery. They didn't go through just one side this time. They went through both sides of my groin, bro. This time they saved the other leg. And in the process, they provided me the ability to keep my heart pumping. It turns out I had what they call an occlusion, or a blockage, in the arteries going to my kidneys. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure if you look on this side, I'm thinking you can see a T, because we've known fellas. I might have had a stroke. I'm not sure. Now I'm missing my teeth because this past summer I went ahead and saw a dentist because they were so messed up. I was sick of them, just sick of them. They were causing me headaches, migraines, all kinds of different kind of pain that I didn't want to deal with no more. So I went and saw a dentist and had them take it. Good news is, the middle of this month, I'm supposed to be set up for dentures. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still too young for this crap. We both feel the same way. I know. We all do. I'm not 90 or 70 yet. I'm not even 100 years old yet. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going as far as I can, dude. I'm going to take it as far as, forget about a limit. There's no such word in my vocabulary these days. There's no limits. We were never giving limitations. We were given instructions, guidance, suggestions, but never a limitation. Show me where in any scriptural writings that there's a cutoff. You can only go so far and then you're done. No, I've not once, from the Torah to the Quran to the Bible to the Eddas to the Tibetan scripturals, and those are etched in little sconces, and those things are just wild. All I know is there's never been, in my understanding, limitations placed on a human being for a lifetime, other than what we are told by those who are in their 80s and 90s. Okay, you're about to, that's about as far as it goes. I've known people who have lived to see 130. I never talk about them, and that's by their request. When I mention every now and then that I knew the real McCoys when I was young, the man's name was Jarvis. Jarvis McCoy. He had two boys, Ron and Roy. If I remember right, Roy had a daughter whose name I can't remember. I want to say it was Linda, but I'm way wrong. And they were in Ohio. And I was still 12, 13, 14 years old. But I knew some, or at least met some of the family of the original real McCoys, because Jarvis was the grandson and or great grandson of the family that I don't know. I'm looking to find out. Shoot, because without limitations, I'm going as far as I can press it. My whole thing is I am endeavoring to live long enough to see my great grandchildren at least make it into high school, if that ever even exists at that point. At least to a level of education to where they can maintain handling their own and are able to make proper decisions for their lives at the same time without causing harm to themselves or those around them, be it psychological, emotional, physical, no harm. And as much as that creed states its statement, and as much as the Bible is the basic instructions before leaving earth, and as much as the Torah and the Quran, all of these are guide books, guided spells casted by word written. Everything is magic in its own light, in its own level. Everything under that label, we'll say, under that moniker of magic. Well, no. And yes, I've said it a million times, and it recently been coming out a lot more than I expected. The power, the most strong strength of any kind of power an individual may have within themselves. You've heard it sang by many people in their song. The old crazy man, the kids think I talk nonsense. Truth, my wife said she sees it. Amen, Jess. Amen. And I apologize for the missed part earlier. Sometimes it's either Jesse or Jessica, so I never know who I'm dealing with. So either way, good to meet you again, sir. And Thomas Morgan, thank you for showing up and showing out. Glad you're here. Blessings to each and every one of you. But when you're able to, and they call it manifesting these days, but when you come up with an idea, the concept, the moment that concept is placed into some kind of physical in your imagination, tangible through the work of your fingers and your hands, the concept that you've got the materials, the understanding of know-how or knowledge to make that conceptualized idea a reality, that manifests. These are things that we are supposed to, as far as my understanding goes, share with the next generations to come so that they can maintain sustaining themselves and those that they're bringing into the world. Back to the update again. I digress. Kawabunga. Cherry tip cake. Yay! All right. My coffee's on the way in about an hour. So I had a heart attack a couple weeks ago. They went in through both sides of my brain, took out a bunch of blood clots, and found that there were blood clots all over, including in my shoulders, one halfway into my aorta, into my heart. Basically, I'm still here, bro. I'll say it again. They ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burn from stinging sweat. Seems every path leads me to nowhere. But still, here I am. Inasmuch as so are you. Each and every one of you. When you've been through it more than one couple of times, then you realize that, well, I'm not sure what the purpose is or how many goals I'm supposed to accomplish here, or for myself or for anybody else, but I'm here still for a reason. Not about, well, God, let me know what's going on. It's about, okay, what's my next step? Not about show me a sign, but bring me somebody. Even if it's by a phone call, by a voice. Send it through a letter, send it on the phone. I'm not the kind of girl that likes to be alone. No. Okay, enough of Janet. Back in the day, there was a lady named Amy. She sang a song talking about God is in control. Well, who's to say? Nah, I'm not going to go there. I live on a different level than most. And it's not necessarily that I chose to, but it's been brought to my life that kind of way. There are some fellas and some ladies that are, well, senior to me, age-wise. But see, again, it really is factual in its own weird kind of way that age is kind of just a number. It's a concept that you either cohere to or deny, reject. Just because I am been on this earth this many years does not mean that I feel, think, or understand life in such a way that I am that age. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. I love some Peter Frampton. Well done. Well done. So, no, not quite yet. I'm still working on getting back to being me, dude. I took a. Your brother took a tumble on a hard note. You've taken a couple of hard tumbles yourself. I know, but you understand better than just about anybody that this is me we're talking about. And I'm telling you, I took a hard tumble. I haven't smoked a cigarette in almost 3 weeks. They got me wearing a patch. It's helpful. I've had more interaction with my children in the past 6 months than I have in the past 8 years that we've been trying to build. And I've been trying to work on building with Travis for over 10. I now have a grandson. And I know you're a granddad. It's definitely a great feeling. I was trying to figure out, okay, I'm glad for him. I'm proud for him. I'm looking forward to understanding what that feels like. And now I get it. You know what, dude? That's what I keep getting told. I had to slow down. Slow down, man. You're just getting ahead of yourself. You're always ahead of yourself. Coming up, man, I was kind of taught. It was kind of ingrained in me to be maybe 3 or 4 steps ahead, so that you could be prepared to hand that tool or instrument or piece of equipment that need be used to go ahead and fix whatever was broken. Be ahead of the game, so to speak, so that people wouldn't be able to get over on me. So being ahead like that, or trying to stay ahead, you sometimes fall back further than what you're supposed to be ahead. Well, it caught up with me, to say the least. They found blood clots all throughout my body, including in my shoulders, in my heart, in my arms. That's awesome, dude. My boy calls me Papa, and I've only heard him say it twice. And recently, looking forward to reconnecting with Akira, so that we can have some kind of something as a relationship. I keep trying to let my kids know, look, I'm here, I'm available. It doesn't matter what I got going on. I will shut it down and I will make myself available to you on purpose. And that's how we do, big brother. That's how we do. And I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Let me check up top here right quick. I'm missing stuff and I know it. Okay, there's Jack. All right. Another Gypsy Jack. 2:00. That's tomorrow. Yeah. All right, so there's that. Oh, Jess, thank you for the subscribing. I didn't realize until just now. Jess, I have a new subscriber, T. I didn't know that was a thing. I forgot. But in as much as we started off with this, and I'm going to continue it on as my mainstay. And the coffee house thing is now officially, and I'm way more than okay with it, always was. The coffee house thing is your concept to run with. You're appreciated. I'm going to stick with and stay along the lines of, dang it, I should have been streaming. Because that's where we, maintain the basics. So they put me in the surgery. And when I came out, I had what looked like tampon packs, the pads, the maxi pads, with these little hoses connected to them that were suctioning out whatever they vacuumed out the excess yuck that might have been flaking around up in those wounds. Now, these scars are like 2.5, maybe 3 inches long from one end to the other on both sides of my groin. Yeah, Jess is cool. He's good. He's good people. Good people. I think, if I remember right, being in a couple of your live streams, we've had a conversation with Jess before. So, yeah, I'm good with it. But if you look at my face, I've been trying to decide, do you see it the way, I don't know if I'm seeing it, like, I don't know. But I feel as though it's possible I may have had a stroke in the process of all this. Maybe 2. I don't know. But all I know is yes, it is. Thank you for that. I needed to hear it, let alone read it. But I'm trying to decide, and I keep, for the last 3 years, do you recall, if ever, I got into a fight when we was younger where someone busted my nose? I don't know. Maybe it was those times when I was jumping off people's backs and running my head into the stop signs. Maybe I messed up and hit my nose instead. I feel as though it looks as though it's been broken before and not reset. I don't remember. Jess, I got a song for you I want you to check out. All right. It's along the same kind of lines, and that's an awesome, awesome statement. And it has a lot of base truth to it, and it's real. And for the record, thank you. Thank you for coming across and being real, because it's not very often anymore. We have sincere, genuine individuals who are just open with their statements, and their statements are generally vague anymore, whereas ours seem to be on point, spotted with specific design to convey the message that we're trying to put across. So I appreciate your genuine realness. Thank you, Jeff. So I'm trying to decide, yeah, it's possible that I've been in some kind of situation. We've been in a few situations where we all fought together. So most of them I don't recall. So I don't remember ever having my nose popped more than once, but it is what it is. I'm more concerned about whether or not I've had a stroke. Well, I would, but just the song is by a band called Nazareth. How, what a coinkydink. The band Nazareth, they have a song called Please Don't Judas Me. All right. Go check it out. It's worth the listen. Every last bit of it makes sense. Real men will make it a point when trying and attempting to convey a specific message to be emotional in that conveyance so as to make it understood that I'm not here to BS anybody. I'm giving you a genuine, accountable, conceptualized truth fact of myself so that maybe later down the road, the information I'm giving you, you can utilize and share with someone else to help them grow, in as much as that's what my attempt is here for us. If we can't do anything, if make the attempt, just make the effort to be a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. We're not here to get in the way of each other. Unless God put you in the way of somebody to prevent them from making a move that's going to harm them and the others around them in the long run. And that happens. Then you're there to be the bumper and the railings at the bowling alley to keep the ball in the lane to at least get one freaking pin down. Be the bumper. Be the bumper. As parents, as grandparents, as brothers, as sisters, as uncles, as aunts, as mothers and fathers, as cousins, as siblings. Be the bumper. Keep yourself safe in the process. Utilize the knowledge you've already gained, the lessons you've learned from, to be that educational source on so many different levels. Wear as many hats as you feel you can wear. What's that line we like so much, Tony? Hi, how are you? Give me just a minute. How can I help you?
Good morning.
Is it time for the vitals?
No, time
Med.
for the meds. Yes,
Oh,
my
good
name
deal.
is Deb. I'll be your nurse today.
Thank you, Miss Deb.
What's your birthday, sir?
December the 14th, 1972. Ah, clever, clever. You want to talk about clever? Whatever's clever, Trevor. Remember what our line used to be, and we had to like search this one out because you got taught this one when you was young. Your work ethic has always been strong, and I've taken from that, and I've learned from you as well. Thank you, just for being you, T. You know that's genuine, even for all the hard, rough times we've been a part of together. The different times we felt maybe that we've taken advantage or been taken advantage of. Either way, doesn't matter. Here we are now, and it's still family. What is that? What is it? What is it? I'm trying to think of it. I know exactly what. Something about a master of how does it go? It's sometimes better than the master of one. That's the end of it. I know that. A jack of all trades, but a master of none is sometimes, not always, better than a master of one. However, to contrast that, an individual who hones and trains his skills in that one mode not lucky. That's never lucky. Blessed maybe to have people there to make sure that you get back to health. You want a nurse? I'll tell you what, join the military. Okay, yes, ma'am. 1 second, folks. Alrighty. And then we got all four of them together?
Yep. Acola,
Wow.
Yesenia, the
Eloquist and the Plavix?
yes.
Wow, they just grouped them all together out of nowhere. I was doing okay. All right,
Let me
cool.
double check.
All right.
Okay, that's
From what I understand, the blood thinner and the platelets thing is one is in the daytime and one in the evening. Okay, yeah, that's okay. And that's the stool. Mhm.
And
The eloquist. Okay, well, let's do it.
Once a day,
Hmm.
and the eloquist is
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so they kind of changed that up a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. That just means for improvement. You gotta make the blood right in order to be able to breathe right, you know?
yes.
And some say not. Yes. The patch. Let's do the patch. Now, go. And
And how is your left? Is it your left arm that has the?
yeah. I've been icing it with the
Okay.
bag of ice out there. I
Okay.
believe Margie or Maggie, however you want to say her name,
Okay.
did what you call the special ice pack
Okay.
where it doesn't leak for like 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
Wow.
And it's still actually, I don't miss my blood. It was on the base.
Okay.
But other than keeping it iced a little bit,
Okay.
it's going well.
All right. Very good. Do you need this tablet?
Yeah. Give me about.
Okay.
In the middle of some things.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
yeah.
Yep.
All right. I appreciate that very much. So, but yes, a little while from now will be fine. Thank you. Thank you. Isn't it amazing how we knew each other young and here we are grown and older now? And it's like, wow, that guy's wiser than I thought he was. He paid attention more than we thought he did. And I'm saying that about some of you guys. I'm like, whoa, where did he come from? And here I am thinking, are you sure you're okay, buddy? Next thing you know, they're proving not just with their words, but with their actions, like, oh, I'm more than okay, bro. Here, come check this out. Let me show you a thing or two. Ah, there you go. There you go. But within that statement, though, it goes so many different directions, wearing so many different hats and learning so much about each of these different, not just trades, but life skills, life hacks, so to speak. And yeah, I say so to speak because I'm not being specific about what life hacks are, which, where, what, how. Some things are just so simple, they're common sense. So forget about a life hack. It's just having the wherewithal to think something through, figure it out for yourself, and it was simpler than you thought it was to begin with. To make the conscious choice, to allow yourself to learn. Again, back to being open-minded, open-eyed from viewing from another person's perspective and attempting to be in their shoes, even for a minute. I would have to agree, Jess. It's like Tony. Would you agree as well? Would you concur that that particular statement, that phrase, that the jack of all trades thing, it seems as though there's like another couple of paragraphs, or even one whole set of paragraphs, that this extra statement that's missing somehow. to kind of like give it closure and complete. It's almost like taking portions of Nostradamus's writings out of the way, and next thing you know, they make no sense. You know, yeah, half the stanzas don't make much sense anyways, unless you relate it on purpose to specifics. Because almost every bit of writing Nostradamus did was vague at best. In as much as being a bumper of guidelines for most of these scriptural writings are all suggestions, not absolutes per se. And if they are absolutes, it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to adhere to those absolutes. The what they call a God-given blessing of personal choice. There's another phrase for that too. Free will. Free will. Nothing in this life or any other ever has been nor ever will be free. And I say that with reason. No matter what we do in this life, it's either given as a blessing or you've earned it. There's nothing that was ever done, made, or given for free. There's always going to be some kind of trade-off or barter, whether it's an exchange of knowledge, telling a couple of jokes with each other to ease the mood and tension of the situation, the work involved, having to do favors here and there for each other, even if it's not at that moment later down the road. You were there and kind enough to go ahead and let me do this thing so I could have this, that, and the other thing. And let me go ahead and set you up and hook you up on this other thing so you can have you. You know what I mean? Either way, we always changing something. It goes not even by the year anymore. We're talking month to month. Man, I want to hear the story soon. When you get the chance, when you are able to make time, I want research that for me, because I'm kind of focused on some getting healed up over here. But research that for me when you get and make the time, because I know you've got some. I saw what you was doing with the staircase too. Well done. Little bits at a time. That's what she said. No. Okay, so I digress. I wound up coming over to the VA hospital after they did this surgery. I had tampons, kind of like sponges on my groin, and they vacuumed up all the excess oxygen or whatever to keep it dry so that the wounds would heal. About 3 or 4 days after I got over to the VA hospital, because I stayed at the hospital over there for a good 4 or 5 days straight. All right, before they would even bother to release to go anywhere. So 4, 5, 6 days, and I wind up over the VA hospital. Within 3 days, 4 days time, I've been dealing with, and it's going to sound kind of yucky to some people, but that stuff that comes out of the backside of you, and it shouldn't be bloody, but it is. And that's been going on since probably 6 months into being with the soon-to-be ex. Again, it's so disheartening to me, the effort that was made. And you know me well enough, T, that you know I wasn't intending or attempting to marry anybody, let alone be in a serious relationship unless I knew it was solid. And I was duped. Plainly put, I was duped. I wound up providing for a lazy woman and killing myself in the process. I don't know if you knew this or not, but while we were in Arkansas, I was in the hospital there too. Surprise. So plunger. No. What do they call that? Liquid plumber. And even then, that doesn't help much. You got to figure out where the clog is stuck. That shouldn't take but a minute. We got those skills. So when it comes down to it, I wind up going over to the other hospital, the main hospital, and they go in and check things out. and I'm thankful that they did. The VA was like, no, something's not right. Your blood count is way, way low. The hemoglobin, I guess, the oxygen blood. I was beneath the base number by like 2 or 3. So yeah, I was trying to catch my breath and have any breath to catch. Because yeah, yes, and put a little tiny camera up in there so you can monitor. You know what I mean, Jess? Put it up towards like the back side where it's going out inside the pipe there. There's a concept. Who knows? You know, they got little tiny cameras everywhere these days anyway. Look at all the drones. At any rate, so no, it's not good. Tony's right. It's not pretty. So they went ahead and sent me over there, and I'm glad that they did because they went in and they removed a couple of polyps. Yeah, and I just this past December turned 50. Just. And as far as me and my folks are concerned, we feel as though that's still young. We're not even close to being old. We ain't even made it halfway, man. Not even halfway. Nah. I'm gonna keep on going until I make it. When I make it halfway, oh, I'll let you know. Oh, you gonna know? I'm gonna let you know. I'll let you up on. I'm halfway. I'm halfway. And that's what. Guess what? I'm not even close. Either way, for everything that's been going on, though, T, I've been blessed, and I'm counting my blessings. But I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch either. There's still a lot more work to be done and a longer road ahead of me. That's why I'm not even close to halfway as far as I'm concerned. I am in the mode of refusing and denying the Reaper his visit. I'll go when I say I'm good and ready, or when my father says, come on home. Until then, death got no hold on me. I'll say it again, and it's a bold statement, yes. But I know I'm strong enough within myself to make this bold statement and have it maintained. Death cannot have me. It's not allowed. And as much as I've not been allowed to have time with my children as they were growing up into their teens and 20s, death is not allowed to have me. Yep, he's right, Jess. You guys know I've been out there, and Tony and I have been working together on that place, and we've had more than a couple of discussions about getting the foundation a little bit lower and making that Michigan crawl space not a crawl space, but possibly at least a 4 to maybe 6 foot worth of depth to where you can at least walk on your knees and make everything plumb and level underneath where it's supposed to be, instead of having to modify it and give it kinks and crinks here and there for it to be able to work properly. But yeah, he's going to have to go at least I know we've had this discussion at least a couple times, T. At least another 4 feet deep, at the very least 4 feet deeper under the foundation there, so that we're able to make everything flush and set up properly to work properly in the house. But I'll tell you what, it's so impressive. And at the same time, I've never doubted. He's always had this thing in him to do what he does. And I can't even begin to describe or explain. Big T just does what Big T does. In as much as Scott does what Scott does, how Scott does it, and he gets it done. Yeah. That's our guy, I'll tell you what. So beyond all that, they got all the blood clots out. They're maintaining them my hemoglobin, keeping tabs and checks on that. I'm taking blood thinners and platelet stuff and stuff that I'm not used to. And you know me, I'm not a pill person. I'd rather smoke and fly. I even quit drinking heavily a long time ago. Yeah, I said heavily. No, we used to be alcoholics, bar none. We would own and shut down the bars from dusk till dawn. Dude, I'm so upset. I had to leave behind my rototiller, and there's a couple of things that you had thrown my way. The wood chipper, I still had that. And I had to leave that behind. When I asked within a couple of weeks after having left, I called back up to the person where we were staying, and I talked with the fella. I didn't even do it by voice. I wound up doing it by text, and I said, "Look, I left some equipment there. I really need that equipment. Is there any way I can possibly come retrieve it or send somebody to retrieve it?" It's like, don't even bother. Don't even bother, because they don't have the full background story and the bare basics of what's been going on to lead us to the point of being in that person's basement to begin with. They don't know. So as far as they're concerned, I'm a rotten man who just left his wife without I asked for brew, without a word. So I can't fault them for not being aware of the entirety of the situation. However, I was denied the ability to go and retrieve the equipment that I would need to go ahead and maintain an income. Um, at least on an easier note than having to do it by hand. So where I moved to, you're gonna love this part. I got bored. So before I came in here, I spent well, I took my time with it. What generally would take us maybe a couple 3 days to do, and if we actually put our heads together and made the time to make it worthwhile, like we did over there by the Flint River at that one little place, where we used the fire brick inside as well as the plating to keep the insulation for the pit. They had at this place where I'm living at the moment, out in the backyard, stacks of red brick, Tony. Like 3 stacks of red brick. And you know where my mind went, oh, I'm going to do something with this. So I went ahead and I was gifted with a little hand shovel, one of those survival spade shovels, and a couple of other gardening pieces of equipment, small rake. And I cleaned up an area out in the backyard of this place where I'm at, and I started digging. I got about 2.5, maybe 3.5 foot deep, and I put it about 4, maybe 4.5 foot out diameter. And from the flooring above, so about 3.5 to 4 foot deep, give or take. So when I step into it, the ground is at just below my shoulders. Look, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like the bendable, I want to say adjustable. Those little shovels right there are really handy. However, you need as a compatriot, as a partner, the regular size shovel that's at least 4.5 to 5 foot in from top to bottom. All right, those little 2.5, 3 foot little shovels, that it's not big enough and it's not small enough to do the job you need to have done. The little shovels get you taken care of, get you in there. The bigger shovels get that stuff out of the way. And it takes a lot less effort with the bigger shovel than it would the little shovel that you adjust them. So, sent the army shovel. Oh, you saw the fire pit I built. That's a guess. Okay, so I took the red brick. Right. Them little shovels that you can do the little knob thing and then adjust it to where it comes down like a spade. I love those things. Those are great. So I took the red brick and I went around what I had dug. On the backside, it's got an outspout for excess smoke or whatever. And I still have yet to do it, but I'm gonna do it 3 level, not 2, 3 level grill. The bottom level is to where I'm going to be putting the, fuel the fire with the wood. Whatever they got to burn goes in the very bottom. And then that will be kind of like a box cover with cemented mud. And then the next level will be like a small 2.5, maybe 1.5 inch, give or take, hole in the center for the heat to come through from the flat plate where the fire is coming underneath. That ash cement will be heated up enough to where that will kind of, evolve into and up through the third layer of the grill, which I'm looking at having. The grill itself, I want to make it. I've got 3 different metal grate pieces to work with. But I have the 2 don't match the 1. So what I'm probably going to wind up doing on the third level, I want to make it the grill itself to have a platform of at least a 2-foot radius, maybe 1.5 feet, so that there's space to go ahead and put the wood and fuel the fire without burning your feet or your legs. And that's a safety precaution there. And at the same time, people will have the obvious notion to walk around the grill instead of walking through or into the grill. And then on the back spout, I'm bringing that up as well to where it's maybe a 1/2 foot higher than the bricks. I've got them up about 6, maybe 7 stack high. And I'm going to say there's maybe between 11 and 13 round. From front to back, I'm looking from side to side about 27, maybe 30 bricks in diameter. All right. So the back spout, I'm looking at putting that out there to where it looks like a little chimney off a mountain. Kind of give it like that volcano look like we had back in high school for the science fair projects. The grill itself, I want it to be at least 1.5 feet in diameter for be able to handle a small side of a pig. Hey, it's showtime. Okay, this is where I have to bid you all adieu. My therapist guy is here, and he is great to work with, and his name is Deepak. So own that. All right. And the process, would you like to say hello to my YouTube family?
Hi,
Are you
man.
good?
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much. Nice to see you all.
All right. Y'all be blessed. I'll probably be back. If anything, catch me on the TikTok. If not, you know what? I just might come back over here, T. All right. Much love, much respect, and I will talk to y'all soon. Be blessed.